Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered what life is like on the other side of the world? Well, beyond border, it's a journey to explore cultures, stories, and perspective from all around the world. Hi, I'm Nadia, your host, and I'm passionate about connecting with people from different sides of the life. Welcoming you to Beyond Borders with Nadia, and our first guest for today's first episode is Josie OKulor. Hello, Josie. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Josie OKulor. I'm from Nigeria.
Great. Well, it was great connecting to you, Josie. Actually, she is from Nigeria and connecting from a place which is like really opposite from India was a huge task for me. And I think Josie made it very easy for me to connect with her and get her on my podcast as a guest. So thank you, Josie, for your time today, and I'll make sure that you enjoy this podcast. And I just want to make sure that this is gonna be the great podcast you'll have as a first episode. So
Okay.
I have heard Nigeria is a country where women have empowerment. Women empowerment is very high. There is very less discrimination among men and women in Nigeria. And the reason I would say is because, both man and woman work in Nigeria equally. Not when talking about equality, but equity. Well, so Josie, I just, wanna warm welcome you. Let me give you a brief introduction about Josie. She is now historian and she's a diplomat aspirant. She's also an author and a ghostwriter. She has like spoken, she's also done a spoken word artist and she's a professional writer and a voice actor. Well, that's great things. It makes clear that you have your own journey where you're concentrating as a, like mostly as a writer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like Josie, what, something, may I ask what sparked your interest in history?
Okay, in history, I noticed a lot of people when choosing the course to study in school, they go for law, they go for medicine, they go for other popular courses. But then history is just being neglected. And history is a course where in fact, it happens all around us. History is the past, and we need to know the past to know the future. From the past, you write about the future. And I got really interested after watching a documentary about Alexander the Great when I was still in middle school. And that really inspired me to study history. At first, I wanted to go for law like everyone else, but then I felt like I should do something different for once. So, took history then.
That's totally relatable because, like, as a business student, I myself had a dream to, become a law student. And then it's not everyone's right. So I appreciate how you acknowledge histories and like you really wanted to get into the depth of it. So how does your like Nigerian heritage, like you belong to Nigeria, so does it influence your historical perspective in you know in any area?
I don't think so, but I guess, okay. So, for example, being a Nigerian side, so that actually influences my perspective. Being Nigerian doesn't really influence much of my history perspective, though. There is general knowledge about other countries and there is people's philosophy about other countries. I don't think it actually influences to points, but then what we perceive personally as Nigerians can influence a historical perspective. Like, for example, most Nigerians feel like when we travel abroad to other countries, like maybe the US or UK, and then fellow Nigerians there, they work, they help build the economy. Sometimes in Nigerians, especially the Igbos, a tribe in Nigeria, they feel like they're also part of this country's history because they're very hardworking and they work in these countries. So they feel like they're also a bedrock of the country's economy. So I feel like maybe
Yeah.
being Nigerian is it influences to certain points, maybe your personal perspective.
Yes. Getting you. So just wanted to ask you, like, can you share your like historical figure who inspires you the most and why is
That's a really nice question. My answer might sound a bit weird, but don't be scared. The historical figure that I really love, most people might think that it's weird and funny, but then this is really difficult to say. Okay, so Adolf Hitler.
that?
Like it
Hitler.
sounds weird. Hitler, yeah, yeah, he's to people he's a really terrible person. Caused he did things that actually made people over 6,000 Jews lose their lives, and it's really he committed genocide. He's a bad person in history in general. But then I don't know. I just feel like there's this resilience that this man had. Like he's German, and he tried to instill his ideology, Nazism, into the world. Even though he didn't actually try the right approach, he consulted to violent means and other things. But then I admired this man to a certain point. He was really strategic in his thinking, in his wars. Even though sometimes he went back on his allies.
Hitler, Hitler was so like what are some of like what are some of the biggest misconception about history, specifically about Nigerian history that you want to correct? Any misconception?
The misconception that I would love to correct is when most foreigners say that Africa doesn't have any history. I feel like that's really wrong and it to me it doesn't really make sense because Africa has a history. The only problem we have is that it's not documented, it's not written down because Egypt, a country in Africa, introduced the system of writing. But then it's really funny that even when Africa invented writing, we didn't even write our own history.
Okay, okay. Visible. It's visible. Okay. So as we have got to know about your history aspects, historical era, and you're thinking about how history works, it was great getting to know like some of the information which I never knew, like the Egypt one and writing one, and one of like the everything about like Africa. I appreciate how you have such a deep thinking about history and you're so invested in it. Well, going further, like I would like to ask you, what drew you into the field of diplomacy? What got your attention that you wanted to do diplomacy?
What got my attention? Okay. First of all, I like traveling, even though I don't travel a lot. I like the idea of visiting places and getting to know people's culture and being a part of it. And that's basically what diplomacy is all about. A diplomat travels to other countries. They have responsibilities like protecting their citizens of their own country in that country.
Yeah,
And being part of lawmaking, policy making, being part of another country and having so like I really don't have words to describe how diplomacy really it's just nice.
you just got attracted, like getting you. It happened. Well, how do you envision your role as a diplomat in promoting Nigeria's interest on the global stage? What Nigeria is, what are the interests of Nigeria?
Okay, so since Nigeria got her independence in 1960, one of the main things in our foreign policy is Afrocentrism. This is just Nigeria playing the big brother role for all African countries. And yeah, it's a really good idea that we get to protect our brother and sister nations. But then when we do that, we don't really protect ourselves. I feel like we Nigerians are losing just to help others. And then, yes, we get help in return, but then I feel like we should actually change that. So, if I become a diplomat in the future, which I believe I will, I think I would try to change that, not entirely.
Well, as we have got to know, like what type of genre you like in story writing, moving on to the another question, I would like to ask you, can you share insights into the process of ghostwriting?
Okay. Process of ghostwriting. First of all, a ghostwriter is a person who writes for other people while remaining anonymous. You don't know the person.
Josie, one last question. I have talked to many Nigerian people in my past few months. Like many of the people whom I have been talking to are like they are doing freelancing work. So I have got to know that many of Nigerian, especially women, are doing freelancing work, and you're doing it too, right? So I wanna ask, for like according to Nigeria's economy and everything, is it like easy to do freelancing works, or or to do freelancing in Nigeria? What do you think about?
Okay. So most Nigerians see freelancing as a second-rate option. Sorry about that. Should I continue?
it?
Okay. So most Nigerians see freelancing as a second option in making money or making a living because most of them, there's this stereotype that after graduating from college or university, there won't be available jobs out there. So most people just delve into freelancing, affiliate marketing. Some of them don't even have basic knowledge of what these things entail. And so the world of freelancing gets too crowded and then there's this competition, which is really unhealthy. But then I feel like instead of delving into freelancing, I think we should focus on the the basic things that are actually available there. Like most people complain there are no jobs. Well, if there are no jobs, I feel like you should create one. That's why you went to school. That's why you have a degree. Feel like most people don't really need this freelancing stuff. They just have to develop their skills. And then instead of complaining there are no jobs, I feel like if one person can create a job, they are creating job for other people. That is their
Right.
future employees. So freelancing is good, but then it's there are too many people doing freelancing nowadays and there's too much competition. So I feel like we should focus on the main things for now, then maybe freelancing.
Right. Getting there. Uh, it's nice. And it's nice you have a different point of view on job in Nigeria because I think if, as you said, if you don't have a job in a country, you should create one because I think it's the same thing going on in India because of population, inflations, and everything. Rather than creating jobs, Indian people are flying to different countries to get a job. It's a hassle because not getting a job in your own country is a huge discomfort. I got to know your point of view on it. It was great knowing how you think differently than most people. So, okay, today we have explored the rich tapestry of Nigeria, Nigerians' culture, and Nigerian culture and everything, and your journey, how you have came through everything through your studies and through your different types of skills. Like it's just not that you're focusing on one thing, but I would say you are a person, Josie, that is focusing on diverse things at the same time, which is very rare in today's generation. I would say today, if someone wants to achieve a goal, they would rather focus on a same thing. Okay, so Josie, as we have got to know about your perspective, different aspects, I would say you are a person who really focuses on diverse things than just focusing on one thing. Because I have seen many people who want to achieve or get success in their life, they focus on one single thing and they just don't want to get involved in many different things. Somewhere it's minus point for them because they don't get to explore diversity which they can do even with achieving their goals. They can be successful in future. We cannot say that just by focusing on one thing they can achieve their goals. So today on Beyond Borders, we had an incredible opportunity to chat with Josie from Nigeria about her journey and her experiences and what she is currently doing, and we delve into many diverse topics from her historical area to her as a ghostwriter and getting we also gain a valuable insight into spoken word. Like we would love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Like on the guest on my first episode, Josie has been truly inspiring, I would say. We have also learned, especially me, I have learned so much about Nigerian culture and the challenges faced by people in Nigeria. And I'm grateful for her openness and willingness to share her story with our audiences. So, everyone, do not forget to listen to the podcast on radio. Please listen to it on Spotify and Apple Music. I would like to recommend you to listen to our podcast on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to Beyond Borders. And stay tuned for our next episode where we will be discussing on diverse topics. Until then, thank you for listening and thank you, Josie, to be here on Beyond Borders. I was so honored to have you on our first episode, Beyond Borders with Nadiya. Thank you so much, Josie. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.